So you're a high income professional and you don't know what you want to do next. You've got experience in the marketplace. You've got a certain level of knowledge and expertise, but you're a little concerned that you're going to get laid off, the economy's going to change, or inflation's going to keep going up. Well, you're in the right place. I'm Justin Hitt from Inside Strategic Relations, where we show you how to use persuasion techniques to build business relationships that deliver to you profits. Now, what kind of profits are we talking about? We're talking about self-fulfillment and emotional fulfillment. A lot of times you love your job. You don't necessarily love the people at the job. But for other people, you love the paycheck, but you don't like the job. How do you transition into a dream job, or at least career advancement that is fulfilling? Profits also includes monetary profits. Now, I have another channel where we talk about turning high income into net worth. Here, it's important to make sure that high income keeps coming, because there will be economic situations, there'll be socio and political situations. You need to make sure that that income can keep coming. We saw what happened in COVID, and a lot of people that had to go into an office ended up getting sent home, and they didn't have any money. Whole industries are failing right now. One of the things that we do here is we want to make sure that you have the persuasive skills to be positioned in a marketplace as an in-demand expert. So when they have to choose who gets laid off, they're not going to choose you. In fact, it doesn't even cross their mind. And when you decide it's time to move to a different career or a different job or a different opportunity, you have more than a few opportunities to choose from. Now, profits is also measured with your individual goals and objectives. We cover a lot of goal setting. In fact, I wrote a book called What Do You Want and How to Get It? And this book is a workbook. It's not like a read the book and think about it and smile and read another book. It is read the book, follow the step-by-step guide, and in probably 2 hours, you're going to have a clear plan of what to do next. That plan is going to help you grow as an individual, grow as a valuable contributor in a marketplace. And really the bottom line of what we're doing here is we're leveraging business relationships in order to help you be a producer, not a consumer, not a follower, not somebody who's worried and concerned about every change in the political climate, but someone who produces results consistently and regularly. And that's why we talk about critical thinking. Critical thinking is necessary so you know what solutions are most probable for creating the results that you desire. We talk about outcome management. Outcome management drives the outcomes that you want, not just the feel-good side, but the actual monetary profits, the actual positioning in a marketplace. Now, we have a lot of political folks on who listen to the podcast and who have been past clients. We also have a lot of high-income professionals who are subject matter experts in their industry. One of the most powerful ways today, especially with the way media is, the most powerful ways today to accelerate your positioning is to write a book, position paper, or some kind of report that shows the market who you are in a profitable way, in a powerful way. Now, how does that work? So just writing a report allows you to do the work one time and then leverage the work time and time again. So you can use it to get speaking gigs. You can use it to demonstrate your value. So you can go to a trade association and connect with the right people. A lot of those speaking gigs, by the way, are at trade associations in front of decision makers who very often lead to job offers. But even if you're not working for somebody else, a special report or a book can position you as the business to go to, as the lawyer to go to, as the doctor to go to. We have a lot of lawyers and doctors. In fact, most of the people who are newsletter subscribers currently make $150,000 or more in total compensation, US dollars. But my goal for you really is to make 3 to 4 times the average income for your area, because that's where I really feel you're going to have the financial stability to really invest in business relationships, and then those business relationships give you the leverage to continue the financial stability. So you really have a cyclical relationship that builds on itself, increasing your value to the marketplace and then further rewarding you for that value. Now, you might be in a position today where you have expertise, you're called on for your expertise, you're relied on for your expertise, but you're treated like crap by an employer, or you're in a business that really isn't going anywhere. So we also talk about marketing of yourself, building and cultivating leads, your social network, but we don't talk about actual social networks because that's a bunch of BS. The social media platforms today, the video platforms, all of these public platforms that are for free are because they are harvesting your data and they're harvesting your skills in order to place advertising. So we're not talking about becoming a creator or a thought leader because that doesn't work as well as what, say, for example, George Bush did. George Bush, Bill Clinton, they're on different political sides of the spectrum, but both of them took the time to write to their supporters, especially the ones that had political action committees and were raising a bunch of funds, but to regularly write to these people and connect with these people and interact with these people directly. And this built up their power in the political landscape, just as it worked for Lee Iacocca, for Harvey Mackay, all these other CEOs you may or may not have heard of. In fact, there are people in your neighborhood that still use this technique at the local country club. They use it with small events. They use it with their core clients in order to gain a large volume of referrals, or to further position themselves as the expert to go to so that they get better compliance from their patients or client or customers. So where are we going with inside strategic relations is a better version of yourself. Now, I also want to make sure you understand that critical thinking skills help you retain the power that you already have and retain the influence you already have because it secures your position in a marketplace. Now, you might have stopped learning a long time ago. But the problem is the rest of the world around you, including younger people in the marketplace, are more aggressive, they're more willing to learn, and ultimately they're driving past you very quickly. If you've ever been in a situation where your boss is half your age and they think they know everything, well, I've been in the case where I've been your boss and half your age and I did know everything, but the underlying fact is you still have value in the marketplace, but you have to find the place that values you. This is extremely important. So there's a lot of Fortune 500 companies right now laying off top quality older workers. And one of the things that we do here is help you get back into the market, either as a consultant, as a senior level player in an organization, knowing that that's a temporary position. How to get those $250,000 to $300,000 a year jobs that they're stressful. And they're challenging, but they're going to drive your passion for your area of expertise. Again, not understanding that these concepts are available is kind of what the people who already know this want to have happen. So that senior level executive, if you ask them, and I've asked senior level executives, how did you get in your position? How did you get it? Some of them will just tell you by dumb luck. But if you take them out, you get to know them, they'll explain to you they worked hard, they positioned themselves, they knew the right people, they made sure the right people knew who they were. They drove in the public arenas as leaders and experts. They wrote position papers. They partnered on projects that had high visibility. They were willing to do work that other people weren't willing to do. They took risks. They drove forward this whole system of what we call strategic relations in order to build themselves, grow their organization, and gain the next level. Now, they were able to secure that by understanding how persuasion works. And that's one of the things the podcast does for you, is it gives you tips and insights of the persuasion methods, as well as how to see the world around you and understand how systems work. I want you to see the best version of reality so that you can carefully and calculatively navigate through the things that you experience and the things that you see. I don't want subscribers and clients to ever get caught off guard. And I've been caught off guard. I'll tell you, I've been surprised, reorganized. I found myself in a job I love, a career or an activity I love, or a client I love, and then they suddenly go away or they turn bad. I've had bad bosses. I've had everything that I'm teaching you about here and more. But I've also had mentors. I've also had access to resources. I've also been a part of political action committees or campaigns. I've also been in the world of lobbying. I've been in the world of risk management, handling laws and rules and compliance changes. I've worked with hundreds of different types of business lines. I've worked with individual businesses, and I've worked with divisions inside of organizations. I'm confident that if you ask me a question about creating and keeping profitable customers or finding the opportunity, because by the way, if you're an employer, that employer is your customer. This is the old Brian Tracy, you Inc. But if you're a lawyer, you got clients and they're your customers. How do we keep them? How do we grow them? How do we find profitable customers? If you have a question about any of these things, I would be more than happy to answer them as long as you let me know you're a listener of the podcast and you visit www.insidestrategicrelations.com and you go to the contact page and just simply send me an email. I actually read that email myself. But let me get into this some more. Let's say you're a subject matter expert and you're thinking, hey, look, I don't want to work every day. I don't want to have the fires that constantly have to get put out. I don't want to have the bad boss. And I want to go out and be a trainer. Well, great. How do you position yourself in a marketplace so that when someone wants to learn what it is that you know, they know to come to you? And the surprise is it's the same type of thing you would do in order to position yourself inside a large organization to be the go-to person for larger budgets, for more staff, for solving big problems instead of just doing busy work all damn day. And it's also the same thing that a lawyer, a doctor or a specialist doctor or some kind of private practice would use, architects would use, so that outsiders choose their organization. I'm going to real quick cover that before we wrap up. It's number one, position yourself in the marketplace. How do you position yourself in the marketplace? You create artifacts and put them in front of decision makers. Number two, circulate in front of decision makers who have money. Okay? It does you no good to be the most famous TikToker if nobody on TikTok actually buys your high ticket services. And by the way, that's number three, have a high ticket service. If you are currently getting paid $150,000 a year, doing a side consulting job and getting maybe $20,000 is not worth your time and effort. I can get that in a bonus. A lot of my clients can get that in just a end of the quarter bonus. You want to have systems in place that put you in front of qualified buyers. You want to have systems in place that help decision makers know of your value. None of this bullshit politics stuff that employees do. That stuff does not work because the boss knows you're kissing ass. And because they know you're kissing ass, they can carrot and stick yourself into misery, suffering, and doing all the extra work. I've been in environments where I've done 100% of my supervisor's work. So we're understaffed. I'm doing 100% of the supervisor's work and 100% of my own work. And there are promises that I'm going to move up. Now, my manager was actually doing 100% of their work, which was covering some vice president or some senior level executive. Everybody's working. I'm gaining great experience. But now my manager gets seen because he had these techniques that I did not yet know. He gets seen, gets a senior level executive position, and what does Justin get? Justin got screwed because nobody above him knew that I was doing his job. Now that he had told him a couple times, but I didn't have the artifacts in place. I didn't have the direct contacts and interactions. And basically I got screwed over. I didn't level up into his job. His job went vacant. They got another person in his position, and I ended up teaching the next person what to do and working with that next person, and then the promises faded. Not because my boss was not doing their part. They lobbied for me. They advocated for me. But one person inside of a 250,000 employee organization lobbying for you is not enough. So what I learned with that ended up putting me in a position where I was the only junior level person on meetings with directors, senior level executives, vice presidents, and more. And I was able to leverage that opportunity. Now, it doesn't always work out, but the artifacts that I use to get to that position are valuable in the consulting market space as well as the credibility market space. So again, you've got to have these artifacts that position you. And I have some materials on how to write special reports and how to position yourself as an expert. And it could be as easy as speaking to trade associations and other groups, or just being a good mentor inside your organization. I've had a lot of wonderful mentors that have helped me get to where I am today. You want to make sure that you're monetizing it. It does feel great to be the smartest guy in the room, but if you're the smartest guy in the room, you're not monetizing and making money from what you're doing, and it's the hardest person to learn from is yourself. So if you're the smartest person in the room, you're not learning from other people. And finally, without the artifacts, if you have a setback such as a layoff, economic depression, inflation, or other things, you don't have any leverage. So one of the things you'll notice with what I do, I keep mentioning these special reports I wrote. I wrote some of these special reports in 1996, 1997, and I've rewritten them and reused them, and I've added to them, and I've built them out, and I've used them with clients, and then I offer them to you because, again, I did the work one time, and I profit from it time and time again. So if you have an expertise, if you have an experience that is novel, we can write that up in such a way so that you're invited to the right trade events with decision makers who can hire you for a better position. So that inside your company, you're not just given extra work, but you're given extra responsibility, extra pay, and growth. There's a lot of things that we can help you do here at Inside Strategic Relations. Now, I hope you've been taking notes, because there's been some tips and tidbits here that can really help you get to the next level. I want to make sure you know that you can ask questions. And so if you visit the website, www.insidestrategicrelations.com, go to the contact page and ask questions. I will be more than happy to write up an outline for you or write up something, because that's the feed that creates the podcast. So it's no skin off my back to help you kind of get direction and to listen to your challenges in order to identify some possible paths to move forward. But I want to thank you for being a part of what we're doing here today. If you don't find yourself making six figures right now, you can still listen to the podcast, because these are the skills that are going to help you get to that six figures. But whatever is six figures equivalent in your locality, if you're living in New York and you're not making $300,000 a year, you're barely making it. And now, of course, there's some folks from India and the Philippines here and Singapore and some other countries. Whatever your local currency is, you need to be making 3 to 5 times what the average income is. And then with these persuasion techniques, invest in your education, invest in your abilities and skills, invest in building the artifacts that positions you as an expert. So I want to thank you for listening. I'm Justin Hitt with Inside Strategic Relations, and I'm looking forward to hearing of your success.